So, welcome to our call. Happy Monday. It's the first Monday of April, and so it's our first official Team Sweaty Lovely Life team call of the month, and it feels like forever. With being gone on the cruise last week, I was thinking like, oh my God, it feels like it's been a month since we had our team call. But I know Tia killed it while I was gone, and so I'm so thankful that she did that. But I really am excited about tonight's call because I know this month was a pretty killer month for a lot of us. I know that for me personally, it involved a lot of reflection and a lot of ego checking for myself. I talked a lot about this with my mentors on the trip. I talked a lot about this with just other coaches while I was on the trip, and I've talked about this with Leah a bunch. I think it's just so important to understand, we are all at different levels in our coaching journeys, and it doesn't matter like what level you're at. Every time you reach a new level, you're going to have discomfort, and you're going to have doubt, and you're going to have new fears and old fears come up that you have to overcome. And I noticed that happened for me. Coming back from leadership, I had a whole huge fire lit under my belt, that I was, I had all of the things. I had all this newfound confidence, and I had all this clarity on what I needed to do. And the unfortunate thing is that, like I said, every time you reach a new level of success, and this is like the pattern that I had to recognize in myself, is that every time I reach a new level of success, my ego comes in to tell me that I'm not enough, and starts to try and feed into the lie that I don't have what it takes. So long story short, my call tonight is really about what has helped me the most and what continues to help me the most every time I reach this point where I feel like my fears are creeping in, my ego is getting in the way, and how can I get myself back to a place of abundance, of clarity, of excitement, of confidence to move forward and move past this hurdle in my journey. And that really comes down to the basics. So that's my little precipice about our call tonight. But I want to just kind of remind you guys of some key things. So we are through the first quarter of the year, which is an exciting thing, but also like a crazy thing. So I urge you to take a look back at your yearly, quarterly goals, and just give yourself a gut check of like, where are you at? Because, look how fast 3 months went by of 2019. And we are going to fly before we know it. We're going to blink and it's going to be June. So I'm reading the 12-week year. If any of you are looking for a really awesome professional development book, I really, truly, highly recommend the 12-week year. Because it not only, like, if you're someone like me who struggles with time management, and again with the end goal, with the long-term vision and how to break that down into tangible, tactics of like, how can I put this into action? That book also covers so much in like just mindset and just again over like understanding the normal hurdles of growth in leadership and how to sort of adopt that leadership mindset. So I highly recommend that. Make sure that you are getting your butt to a Super Saturday. If you can't absolutely go, then you can't go. I know with it being super weekend, sometimes things happen on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So don't, if you can't go to the one that's absolutely closest to you, try and see if maybe you can sneak to one that's in a neighboring town or maybe a couple hours away. We have actually traveled it's kind of fun to actually travel and go to the different Super Saturdays, because you get to see how other people do it. There's usually maybe a guest speaker there that you might, or a super trainer there that you might want to see. Leah and I have gone to Pittsburgh. We've been to Albany, and I've been to Buffalo. So I've been all over for Super Saturdays, and I never ever regret doing that. And it's just another great way to connect and network with other people in your surrounding community. And like, and it's just a great, it's that I can't speak enough to live events and just how powerful they are with just connecting you to the mission, connecting you with the broader community, and making you really feel a part of something bigger. And as well as just like getting you hyped up and excited about what's to come. And it's just a great opportunity to create that FOMO, show other people what this culture really is about and what we're about, and what they could be a part of too. So super weekend. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is our diamond retreat. So that deadline is coming up. It's in May 23rd is our cutoff for our diamond retreat. So if you are pushing for diamond and you are within, whether you're my personally sponsored coach or Leah's personally sponsored coach, just have that on your calendar, have that on your radar that is coming up next month. So I know we have 2 diamond internships running right now, one for myself and one through Leah. So if that's something that you are pushing for, or you want to put that on your goal list, let one of us know so we can plug you in on that. Okay. So those are just my quick announcements. I don't have a leaderboard right now just because of it being the first day of the month. And so I'm going to skip over that tonight, and I'm just going to share my screen. All right. So back to the basics. Let me see. What the frick? It's going to make me pay. Okay, never mind. Maybe it will let me go. All right. So I want to just get back to the freaking basics. And I, am probably going to get a little heated as I do this, just because, to be honest, like that's my personality. I have to do that with myself. I am a tough love kind of a person. And when it comes to coaching, when it comes to my own journey, I know that sometimes I really just need to give myself a really good gut check and some of my own negative feedback, just to be really frankly honest, because I am somebody that I still struggle with caring what other people think. I still struggle with comparison. I still struggle with, letting that doubt creep back in. And I've learned to accept that is actually probably one of my strengths, is the fact that I, do struggle with that, and that I constantly do have to work at overcoming that. So that's kind of where I am going to sort of lead this call, is sort of to focus in on what it is that you're struggling with, and just getting back to the basics so that we can just overcome our own shiz. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go through some tips. And I'm going to keep it really simple. So my number one tip is to really get back to focusing on yourself. Commit to a program, commit to your nutrition, and commit to your personal growth. We say this all the time, and it really, it is everything. Whether you're coaching or not, if you're here, your number one job was with joining this community had to do with you wanting to become the best version of you, become the best and happiest and healthiest version of you. You can't do anything if you aren't pouring into yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't show up in your life as the best version of you if you aren't committed to yourself. I don't care if you're coaching or not. If it's not one thing in our life, it's going to be another, and this is something that I had said to me by my mom, actually, is if it's not wanting to leave your job, or if it's not the stress from your job, or stress in your relationship, or stress in some sort of area of your life at any given point, it's going to be a stress from another area of your life. The only way that we can combat that, the only way that we can end up, really be having enough energy and having enough strength and confidence to pursue and overcome those hardships is if we are pouring into ourselves. So if you have not yet, if you're someone that's wavered, if you're someone that kind of has dabbled in a program and not fully committed to it, if you're someone that has dabbled with your nutrition but never actually fully meal prepped, or really dove into the fact that maybe you do struggle with binge eating still, or emotional eating, or whatever, and you haven't really leaned into that and given yourself that gut check, if you haven't been doing personal development, if you have been telling yourself you don't have time or whatever, like, that's where you need to lean in, and you need to start. You need to commit to yourself. You need to get back to the basics of just committing to a program full out, get yourself some results, because that is where you're going to have the biggest confidence boost, because you're no longer going to feel that doubt in the back of your mind of like, but I don't have any results to share. But you can't not believe in this if you have results. There's no way that you can't believe in this community and what we can do and how it can change your life if it hasn't first changed your own. So start there, okay? Fall in love with the process. I love the line that Keisha Fitzgerald says is like, fall in love with the process, not what the process produces. I think that's how she says it. Like, and it's like a light bulb. Like, yes, because if you can just fall in love with the day-to-day and like fall in love with the act of taking care of you and how it feels to show up for yourself every day, like, and what that creates in your own life, there's no way that you're not going to be able to convince yourself to keep going. There's no way that you're not going to be able to, overcome the excuses. But with that said, like, it's so important, like, to understand that, especially in the beginning, and even like throughout our journey, if you're someone like me, you care too much what other people think, or it's so hard to not, there's healthy competition, and it's so, that's important too, because if we don't, we need other people to show us like kind of like where we can grow, or, okay, maybe she's doing that, maybe I can try that. That's something that I could utilize. Like, it's important to have other people, like, to see what other people are doing, but at the same time, you have to also like audit yourself. You have to make sure that you're not letting that turn into a negative thing. So if you're someone that spends way too long scrolling on Instagram, either in the morning, when you should be doing your vital behaviors, your invites and things like that, if you're spending 15, 20 minutes scrolling to see what that coach or this coach or someone else is doing and posting and sharing, and like letting this like mentality creep in, like, okay, like, you're wasting time. Bottom line, you're wasting time, and all you're doing is you're like letting it creep in that you're not like good enough. But at the same time, you're wasting time. You're seeing what they're doing instead of actually just putting in the effort and the time to just create action, which is going to create positive momentum in your business and get you where you want to be. Okay. So, if you don't listen to Keisha's podcast, I also highly suggest that, because she puts it perfectly, especially coming from another Beachbody coach. It's just so refreshing to hear someone at her level be able to be so real about this type of thing. And she says it perfectly. Okay. So put your freaking blinders on and love on yourself. Okay. Something that I wasn't doing that's been a game changer for me has been affirmations. For a long time last year, I wrote out a vision of my life, which I read every day. And it basically was like, okay, I'm going to be, I can't wait to how it's going to feel to be a full-time coach. I'm going to be a superstar diamond coach. I'm going to have a team of rock stars that, are creating freedom in our life. I had this whole thing mapped out that I'm going to have our dream house and all this stuff. But the thing about that, though, is that it's so important to have actual affirmations telling you how you want to feel every single day. Okay, so something that I started doing is like I stopped focusing so much on the actual vision of like the tangible things that I wanted to have. And I started, because I have those on my vision board and I see them every day. I know what I'm working towards, but I want to focus on how I want to feel. Okay. So I want to feel confident. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel vibrant. I want to feel all of these things. So I actually write that out every day. I write out how I want to feel in an affirmation form every single day. And I read that, okay? Because that's where I was getting off track, okay? And this is another just thing that I've learned, that if you don't focus on actually how you want to feel, then you're not going to like get yourself to where you need to be to attain those things that are in your vision, okay? So affirmations, if you don't do them all right, focus on yourself and let the chips fall. And I mean this in the way of like, focus on you and don't feel at all ashamed about it, okay? Whatever it is that is causing you angst, whatever it is that's causing you stress, whatever it is, if it is that you're comparing yourself to other people, if it is that you have someone in your life that constantly is breeding doubt into you or is giving you advice that you're not asking for, or is giving you unwanted opinion, or, you know, is this constant source of like negative energy that constantly causes you to doubt what you're doing, you need to let that person go. You need to distance yourself. If it's someone related to you or a dear friend or whatever, you don't have to cut them out of your life, but it is your responsibility to create that healthy distance. It is your responsibility to advocate for yourself, to stand firm in your beliefs, and because it doesn't matter what other people's opinions are. It doesn't matter. And honestly, there's a difference between, you know, healthy, you know, people who care about you, just having genuine concern or whatever, like, you know, they care about you. So what they're saying is coming from a source of love. And then there's a source of negativity and someone projecting their insecurities onto you. And this is something that was a huge issue in my life. You know, when I first started coaching, I did not have supportive friends. I did not have really truly supportive family. And I could have let that go one of two ways. Okay. I could have like let that be my reason to quit. And I could have, again, let their insecurities be my reason to not keep going. Or I could stand firm in my why, and I could stand firm in my own journey, and I could stand firm in how I was feeling and letting that be like my belief, and expressing that to them, but also just understanding, and this is where the personal development comes in, that it's not up to you to convince people. It's not up to you to, you know, just, it's not up to you. And as much, and if they really truly love you, and if they, you know, want to be in your life, they do come around, and they will. I've seen that too. And my family has totally come around. My spouse has totally come around. You guys, you have to make the decision that you are going to take control of your life. You have to make the decision that you're living this life for you, so that you can show up and live your best life, the life that you dream of. And be unapologetic about that, because what you're doing is going to make a difference and make an impact in the people around you in a positive way, if you allow it, if you stand firm in it, and if you don't back down and let your ego come up and tell you that you're not meant to be here. Okay. So adopt the never gonna quit mentality. I stole this from Leah, and I love it because she posted it on one of her transformation photos, and it's like, yes, I'm never going to quit. Like we overcomplicate everything. And like, I can say, I'm going to tell you all of these things. I'm going to, you know, word vomit all over you about what it is you need to do, and, you know, just focus on yourself and all this stuff. But if you just literally decide that you're never going to quit, that this is what you want, that this is how you want to feel, and you're never, ever going to quit on that, then game over. It's done. It's signed, sealed, delivered. Everything that you want to achieve, you're going to achieve it. It's just a matter of when. And this is something that I literally, like, Leah and I talk about this all the freaking time. Like, the fact that we know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. We just have to find, like, we have to constantly get ourselves back to that point of belief, of trust, of abundance, that we really, truly understand that us, like, not believing that it's going to happen is just our fear. Okay. But we know fear is not real. We know fear is a lie. So it's like, just decide that you're never going to quit. Just decide that you're going to achieve, hit success club, that you're going to get, you're going to get where you want to go. You're going to hit diamond. You're going to, become whatever. Like, just decide, and it's going to happen. Okay. Focus on your consistency. Okay. So guys, create a routine. If you haven't created a routine, all right, well, you got to create a routine, and you got to create a routine you love to show up to. Okay. So, like, all right, let's be real. To start a morning routine is not the most fun thing in the world to do in the beginning, okay? It was not the funnest to start waking up at 4 a.m. It's not easy to get out of bed on really cold winter mornings sometimes, okay? It's not easy, especially if you worked late the night before, or you've been working 3 12s in a row, or whatever it is. Like, it's not easy to be consistent sometimes. But you know what? If you have a routine that you love, and we all should develop a routine that we love, because when you're pouring into yourself, there's no way that you can come out of that and feel bad. Okay. When I finally get my ass downstairs and I make up my Energize and I make up my tea and I get my butt in that chair and I start my morning routine, it's game over. I'm in my happy place because I'm pouring into myself. Okay. I'm filling my mind with positivity. I'm calming myself. I'm getting myself my intention set for the day. I'm pouring into something I love. I'm pouring into my business. I'm creating the future that I dream of with the actions that I do every single morning. Okay. I'm getting myself one step closer to getting out of that job that is causing me so much stress. It's getting me one step closer to finally actually being gone from that job 100%. It's getting me closer to bringing in enough income that Nate doesn't have to work so much. It's like I'm getting myself one step closer every single day to the person I want to become in the future that I want. And it comes from that routine. It all comes from the consistency of showing up into that routine every single day. So if you don't have a routine yet and you are not a morning person, then I'm going to say, I'm sorry that you're not a morning person, but create a routine. If it has to be in the nighttime, or you're like, just absolutely, you will not do it, but you will commit to an evening routine, then by all means, create an evening routine. But I do think it's so important to that first hour of the day when your feet hit the floor that you are doing something that's pouring into yourself. So I don't care if you work night shift. I don't care if that means you're waking up at 8 a.m. What are you going to do in that first hour of your day that's going to set you up for a successful day, right? Like, what's going to put you in the best mindset, in the best productive, intentional headspace that you are going to propel yourself forward. And ultimately, it comes down to treating this like a business, okay? If you want this to pay you like a business, if you want this to actually be a business, you need to treat it like an effing business, okay? Because ask yourself, would you show up to your job the way that you're showing up to coaching? Okay? And that's like a really tough question. Like, that doesn't feel so good if you haven't been doing the things to honestly say that, because it's so easy for us to put on our clothes every day and drive to work and show up to work and do the things because it's habitual. Like, we almost don't have to think about what we do at our jobs most of the time. Even with nursing, it's like you go in, you get a report, you do your 8 o'clock assessment, you do your initial assessment, your turns and your whatever, you do your meds. It's very routine. But like when it comes to, and like you're going to show up, even if you don't want to be there, you're going to show up. But, and like there's standards that we have to hold up to. There's certain like policies we have to meet. Why is it, if you want this to be your full-time job, if you want this to be your, you know, your next thing, that you aren't showing up to it like a business? You know, like even if like we all build this in part-time, we all build this in pockets. I built this in pockets of time all this previous year. Like I know it's hard sometimes to maybe relate to where I'm at right in this moment, because maybe I'm a few couple steps ahead of you, but do not, you know, misunderstand that we all build this in part-time. We all have to work full-time and to make ends meet while we are building our business, because we all know that it doesn't pay, you know, gobs of money in the beginning. You're definitely putting in more time in the beginning than you're getting back. And that's just the way that is. And that's why I feel like it's a true testament that what we're doing is really laying the foundation, and what we're doing is really not a get rich quick scheme. And just speaking to the integrity of what we do, because we have to be products of the product. We have to pour into ourselves. We have to show up. We have to build this with our own two hands. And that's something to be really, really proud of. And like, you know, and that's something that you can look back on and, you know, stand firm in, and know that no one can take this away from you. You have complete control over everything about this business. Okay. Because it all comes down to you showing up. So treat it like a business, you know, like really like own the fact that like, okay, maybe you've never been, you know, I've never been a CEO. I've never been a businesswoman. I went to nursing school. I've never been a public speaker. Like there's so many of us come into this, and this is completely opposite of anything we've ever done. That doesn't mean you're not meant to do it. Just because it's something we've never done before doesn't mean that we can't become a CEO. Doesn't mean that we can't adopt leadership traits. Doesn't mean that we aren't going to be amazing leaders someday. It just means that we haven't stepped into that yet. So step into it, you know, create those non-negotiables, like decide that your non-negotiables are non-negotiable, you know, because that's what you do every day that you show up for your work, is you have your non-negotiables that you have to do, and you do them. It's the same thing with our business. Become consistent in those daily activities of inviting, of showing up for yourself, you know, inviting, checking in with your people, you know, posting on social media. It all comes down to, it's going to become habitual the more and more you do it. And it's going to become easier the more and more you do it. And with that, it's like, okay, if you can establish that routine, become really consistent in that, that's going to build confidence. It's going to build, you know, put deposits in your confidence bucket every day, because every day you show up is another deposit in your confidence bucket. And when you start to develop that routine, like you're going to be able to have more confidence to really set those business hours. Be like, okay, I work my routine is in the morning. I get my stuff done. That way I have my whole evening free to be with my spouse, or I have, you know, all this other time that I don't have to stress about not sending out my invites or whatever, or checking in with my groups and stuff, because I've already done it. It's off your mind, and it allows you to show up and be so like, be carefree, have more time for fun, have more time for joy. You know what I mean? It's like, this is something I think, like, it's like in being intentional and being more intentional with your time and being more consistent, you're going to create more space. You're going to see like where you're time wasting. You're going to value time more. And it's going to just allow you to, again, like just be like, no, like, all right, I got my stuff done. Now I have this time for me. Now I have this time for my family. I can be more present at work. I can be more present at home. I can be more present with my spouse. I can have more time to go see my friends or whatever, because I've been so intentional with my time. I made my non-negotiables non-negotiable. I showed up for my business, and now I can show up in the other areas of your life. Okay. Because we all have other areas of our life. We all have people that we care about. We all have responsibilities outside of coaching. You know, we are not just coaches. We are not just coaching. There's so much more to us than that. But you have to you have to be intentional so that you can create that space for yourself. And the more intentional you are, the faster your business is going to grow. And then the more time and space you're going to have and freedom you're going to have with your time. But it really comes down to that discipline, especially in the beginning of each stages. When you're doing this part-time, you have to be intentional and become consistent. Okay. Focus on your people. This is something that I kind of neglected for a while, and it pops up in really weird ways. Like if you feel like even if you're in the very beginning, you could just have a couple people underneath you. Maybe you only have one person underneath you. Treat that person how you would want to be treated. Like our mom told us, it's like treat your coach and challengers like your best friends. Treat them like you would want, like who's the coach and challenger that you would want to coach? Like, then show up as that person. Okay. Treat them like that. Treat them like the valuable person that they are, because they are, like we are here to change people's lives. We are here to play in like that vital role of supporting them and walking along this journey with them. So it's like, they are, and we all know that like results speak volumes. So do your best to show up for that person every single day and pour into them, because they're a walking like example of what it is that we do. They are a walking billboard of the results and how lives can change with these programs in this community. So treat them like that. Show up every day for your people. Create a culture that you love. Create a culture that you would want to be a part of. That's fun. That's inviting. Don't take it lightly. Like don't brush it off, the power of checking in and commenting and really cheering people on and, inspiring others to do the same, because that's what people want to be a part of, right? A lot of us join this because of the community. So this is it, this is the bread and butter of what we are, of what we do, is what's happening in our challenge groups and our boot camps every single day. So if you can create that kind of a culture in there, people are going to want to show up. People are going to keep showing up. People are going to keep giving back positive energy to you, which is going to make you more excited and you happier. And you're really going to be more excited to invite people to what you have, because you love it so much, because you know what it's doing. So pour into your people. Okay, so this kind of comes back to my tip number 1 is, focus on your joy, okay? Like, when you feel that discomfort, when you feel that feeling like coming up, that's your signal. That's your signal that you need to pour back into you. That means like, look at your nutrition, look at your personal development. Like, honestly, like, have you been working out? Like, have you been showing up in your workouts? Have you been putting your all into your workouts? How have you been feeling every day? Like, are you getting enough sleep? Like, when you're feeling discomfort, it's just a sign that there's an area that needs attention. It's just a sign that you need to lean in some certain way. So just take the pause and look at where it is you need to lean in. Listen to personal development or professional development that actually speaks to you. If you're reading a book or listening to an audible that literally like makes you want to fall asleep, that like is not speaking to your soul, then don't listen to it anymore. Like, I give you full permission to stop, put the book away, and go find whatever it is that's going to speak to you. Whatever it is that you need the most. Like for me, it's like I still feel, leadership is like my biggest struggle point. So I am absorbing all of the leadership professional development. Like time management, 12-week year. I'm loving that book because it's speaking to me, because it's an area in which I've struggled with. So it's helping me really like feel like I'm gaining traction with my time management. Listening to Empower Her really speaks to my, that ego that I've been struggling with, that comparison game, like Angie Lee podcast, Take Control of Your Life by Mel Robbins. It's like I'm seeking personal development that is speaking to what it is I'm currently struggling with. So that's what you need to do. Like, you don't have to. That's why sometimes it doesn't work to just read what everybody else is reading, because we aren't all struggling with the same things. Like, you know what I mean? So whatever it is in your business, in your journey that you feel like you're struggling with, lean into that, and lean into it as long as you need to lean into it until you feel great about it and you're ready to move on from it. But like, that's where you need to get back to. Okay. And only through leaning into it are you going to get past it. Like, I can't say this enough. Whatever it is that is making you feel uncomfortable, it's going to keep coming up until you find a way to move past it. That's just, that's a fact of life. If you look back on your own journey, it's like, I bet you can pinpoint how, failure kept coming up, or, how certain situations just sort of kept happening because we weren't dealing. And it's the same thing now with coaching, with any new venture, anything that's out of your norm, anything that involves growing, it's going to come with, a lot of discomfort along the way, because discomfort just equals growth. All right. And lean into your team, like I did it today. I did it last week. I do it all the time. Anytime I feel like I'm struggling, like, you guys, I lean in. All right. I don't, if I'm avoiding or if I go quiet, then something's wrong, because that's something that I did in the past, and I did that a little bit maybe last month. And that's when I knew, like, I was really in a funk, because I really just kind of wanted to shut down. But that is not going to help. Leaning into each other is going to, again, give each other permission to be human, to, let you guys know that, I struggle too, and this is what I'm trying to do about it. Or maybe you can help me through it. Maybe you have advice that I need, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other grow. We're here to cheer each other on. We're here because we are family. And this is not a linear, journey. It's not going to be a straight shot to where we want to be. We're going to have, valleys and low peaks and whatever you want to call them. I don't know how to say it all, but that's what I mean. It's like, we have to see each other through these times. And when someone else is having a struggle, someone else is kicking ass. And that's when we need to just sort of like pick each other up and cheer each other on and help each other get past these things. But, that's also on us to show up. That's on us to okay, I'm struggling with this. Well, I'm going to go on the team page and see if anybody has any advice on it. Or I'm going to reach out to so-and-so and see if maybe I can talk through this with her and she has any like insight for me. Like, you have to lean in. Okay. It's on you also to lean in. And so we can be there for each other. And lean into the parts of the community that make you happy. Like I said, was about live events, about, if you're someone who loves recognition, if you're someone who looks forward to team calls every week, if you're someone who like just loves this community, or, lean into it, lean into whatever it is that gives you so much joy and happiness. If you are so excited, like, to see us on the trip last week, and that like just like lights a fire under your ass, then that is a huge motivator for you. Lean into that, because I promise you it is so worth it to be on these trips. Okay. It is so worth it to show up for yourself every day, to get through the hard so that you can be at more and more and more of these events. Okay. So that you can go to leadership next year, so that you can go to get invited to the Success Club trip in December, like Leah did. Like, so you can go to our diamond retreat and in August. Like, lean into the things that bring you joy. You know, if it's the friendships, the community, like the workouts, whatever it is. Like, I love the workouts. I love, you know, feeling really good. I love the personal development. I love the character growth that coaching gives me. I love the relationships. I love the experiences. Like, you have to lean into what gives you joy and let that motivate you. Okay. I'm trying to read the chat, but I'm like squirrel brain. Oh, I can't read it right now. Anywho, I have one more slide. Okay. Focus on your goals. Okay. So where do you want to be in a year? All right. So this is kind of going back to the vision, and not to get focused on the vision, but anytime you're feeling stuck, anytime you're feeling doubt or thinking that maybe you're not cut out for this, or thinking, man, this is so hard. This really sucks right now. Like, is it worth it? I have had those times, and I have definitely, I had them a lot in the last month or two of this last year. And, you know, I still have days like that where it, you know, that fear comes up, and I have to ask, and I ask myself, like, you know, what if I quit today? Like, what if I walked away? Like, sometimes I have to do this to myself just to get myself out of these funks, because this is what wakes me up. Anytime I feel like that and I stop and I think, if I walked away, where would I be? If I walked away, where would I be a year from now? And it wakes me up every single time, because last January, I knew that what got me the fire lit under my ass for coaching last January was realizing that in a year from last January, I knew I did not want to be in the same spot. I knew that there's no way in hell that my relationship would be here. There's no way I would be sane, still working in the environment in which I was working full time, and just knowing that that was my life. There was no way that I would be anywhere I wanted to be financially. There was just no way I would be anywhere I wanted to be, plain and simple. And I think, like, if you can stop and ask yourself, like, where would you be if you walked away from this community, everything about it right now, where would you be in a year from now? Then turn it around and ask yourself, where do you want to be in a year from now? Because thinking about that every single time, of like what it is that I'm working for, and also like what it is I'm not working for, is what helps get me back on track anytime I'm really, really feeling lost. And just thinking back, you guys, on your why. Why are you here? Like, why did you say yes? I know where I was at. Anytime I allow myself to go back to where I was at before I joined, I know where I was at. I know, like, the kind of lost in the feeling of such desperate, like, spiral, like, you know, I was just so stuck. I was so stuck, and I just so badly wanted to feel the happiness that I saw on other people's faces in this community. I so badly wanted a way out. I wanted a way to get to more. I wanted a way to find passion in my life. And all of that is so much, like, worth so much more than whatever hard it is I have to endure to become that person. Like, I think we get so caught up because it is tough. It is hard. It is uncomfortable to feel out of your comfort zone, to feel out of your realm, to feel like you're not an expert, to feel, you know, negative feedback come at you, to, you know, mess up or something. Like, it does not feel great to have that happen. But at the same time, you know, it feels really good to get on the other side of that. It feels really good to achieve something. It feels really good to become, you know, that more confident version of yourself every time you get over that discomfort. So think about your personal goals. Think about your financial goals if that's what motivates you. Like, what debt are you trying to pay off? What trip are you saving for? Are you getting married? Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to pay off your student loans? Are you, trying to earn just a couple $100 extra a month every month to put towards, your student loans? Whatever it is, like, think of what are your financial goals? Where do you want to be a year from now financially? And if it really, again, Success Club, it's like, you guys know that if you literally just help 3 people a month, every month, for the next, how many months do we have? 9 months? 9 months of the year, you will earn your spot on that Success Club trip. Guaranteed. If you help the minimum of 3 people a month, every month for the next 9 months, there's no way you won't get invited and earn that Success Club trip. So put that on your vision board. Put that on your radar. Remind yourself of that. Remind yourself of what you're working towards. So I hope, I'm going to stop my share, but these tips, you guys, are like, honestly, what I just have to remind myself. Like, they are so basic, and we are going to hear them over and over and over, but there's a reason why we hear them over and over and over. It's because it's what we so easily forget. It's sometimes like the simplest things that we need to do, we overcomplicate it with all of the noise. We overcomplicate it with, all right, what's my filter for my Instagram feed, or how many likes I get on a photo, or who's following me, or whatever, how many followers do I have? We get so caught up in all these things that we don't just show up and do the work that we need to be doing. Like, all that stuff comes, like, with time. There's ways to move past that, but like, what you can't fake, what you can't, like, the thing that is always going to move you one step closer is if you just show up and do the things, all right, to whatever degree that you can do it. So that's really all that I had. I mean, I told Allie that I was going to talk more about the trip, but honestly, you guys, like, I'll just say this. I'm going to stop my recording.